the last tutorial, we progressed our Django series by implementing views to create, update, and delete blog posts. In this tutorial, we are diving into some powerful Django ORM methods like annotate, count, and sum. You'll learn how to use these methods effectively as we enhance our blog application by adding tags and categories. So at the moment, the categories and popular tags are hard-coded. This is in our bloglist.html. So you want to make this more dynamic. So you can make them more dynamic by a combination of Django ORM methods, and we can see this in our shell. So we can launch the shell using python manage.py shell. Then you can start by importing the blog model. You remember that you can query all blog objects using blog.objects.all, and this will return all blog objects with all the fields. But we want to isolate the category field. See, that is what you're going to be working with. And we can do that using blog.objects.values. And over here, we can specify the category field. So you'll notice that it still returns a query set similar to blog.objects.all, but it has isolated the category field. Now let's say that you want to know the total number of posts that belong to a particular category. For that, we can use another function from Django, and that is count. So you can just import that. So from django.db.models, and here we can import count. So the count method, as the name suggests, is used to count the total number of occurrences of a given field. So we can use it to calculate how many times a particular category is used. So above in our query set, we can use count to count how many times a particular category appears in our database, and return that number in a given variable and include it in our query set. So we can do that here in our query set, where we are returning our categories, and we can do that using annotate. And here we can specify count, and we want to count the occurrences of the category field. So you can have it as category. And you can see that it returns the categories. We have nutrition, the category count is 2, and the category of workout, the category count is 3. And if you look at our admin page, you can see that the workout category appears 3 times, and the nutrition category appears 2 times. And you can see that Django will pass this default alias, which is category count, but you can modify it, where we have our annotate function. We can set this to a given variable. So this can be category count without the double underscores, and this will be equals to that. And yeah, you can see that works. So that works well for now. Let's see how we can add this to our view. So where we have our blog list view, I mentioned that this is where we are going to pass the categories and tags as context. So we can add this context, and this will be category or categories, and this will be equals to blog.objects.values. We want the category field, and we want to annotate. This just adds extra fields to our query set. We want the category count, and this will be equals to count. We need to import this. This should be category. So that's from django.db.models. We want to import the count. So once we have that, we can proceed to add it in our bloglist.html. So in our unordered list, we are going to use a for loop to iterate over all categories. So for every category in categories, we want to return something similar to this. So we can just copy this and have it in over here. Where we have the name, this should be a variable, and this will be category.category. And where we have the number, this should also be a variable, and this should be the category count. So this will be category.category count. And you can just remove this now that we have that. Now we can refresh the site and see how that works. And yeah, you can see that we have our categories. We have the nutrition and the workout over here. So let's see how we can do the same thing for our tags. And for that, we're going to use that party application. That is django-taggit. That makes it easy to add tags to our apps. So we can copy this and install it. Let me just close this up. Yes, we've installed django-taggit. Then as always, we need to register our third-party applications in our settings file. So in our installed apps, where we have our third-party apps, let's add the target application, which we've just installed. After that's done, we need to add the tags to our blog model, and you can see how it's done over here. So let me just copy this, go to our blog app, in our models file, let me just copy it here. Below our other, let's have the tags, and this will be equals to taggable manager. After that, we can make the migrations. So Python manage.py, make migrations, then migrate. So we can see this in action when we create a new blog post. So I think my server is still running correctly. So we can navigate to our create view, which is blog, content, new. And here you can see we have the title, category workout, content, thumbnail, and the status. We haven't added the tags yet, and we can do that in our view. So in our create view, where we have our fields, we just need to add the tags, and we can do it after the content. So this should be tags, which is the model field name we specified over here. And with that, we can refresh our site, and you can see how it's over here. We can create a new blog post. I'm going to copy it from this website again. The title, karate versus taekwondo. The category, let's have it as martial arts. The content, I'm going to copy this. The tags, let's have karate. And you can see that they are comma separated. And taekwondo. The thumbnail, I'm going to choose this. The status, let's have it as published and post. So once we have that, let's add the tags in our view. So in our views, this is where we are going to have our tags. So context, this will be tags. For now, let's leave it as empty so that I can explain how this works. So to better demonstrate this, I've gone ahead and added more tags to all our blog objects. For example, in this blog, I've added the diet and karate tag and did the same for the rest of the blog objects. You can see all the tags in our django-taggit database just below the blog app over here. You can see we have the tags, we have the name, cardio, diet, karate, protein, taekwondo, workout, and also the slang. So let's see how we can work with the tags in our shell. The first thing you need to know, I think I've mentioned this, is that our blog object and tags object have a many-to-many relationship. This just means that a blog can have multiple tags and a tag can belong to multiple blog posts. So when we created these tags, the taggable manager, from the target manager, we created a many-to-many relationship. And one more thing that you need to know is that when working with many-to-many relationship, Django manages this relationship using an intermediary table. Each tag is linked to a blog post through this table, which allows for efficient querying and filtering. You can see this table in our db.sqli3 file. You can see we have the blog object, but if you inspect the table of the blog object, you're not going to see any tags. So this is done by an intermediary table, like I've mentioned. We have the target underscore tag table, where we have the ID, the name, and the slug. Then down here we have the intermediary table, where we have the target, which is called target underscore tagged item. And here we have the ID, the object ID, the content ID, the tag ID. The content ID, this acts as a foreign key to our blog objects. And we also have the tag ID for our tags. So in our shell, now that you have some background information, we can start by importing the blog model. So from blog.models, import blog. Then we can proceed to query the tags using blog.objects.values. This will return the tag objects. And you can see that we get this query set. And this returns the ID of the tags associated with the blog. So when we specify the tags field, we are referring to the many-to-many relationship. So each blog can have multiple tag IDs, and this query fetches all tag IDs across all the blog objects. What we're interested in is the tags name, since that's what you're going to be populating down here in our popular tags. We need a way to transverse this relationship between the many-to-many relationship. Likely Django comes with a way to do this. You can read more of it in the documentation. You can see that Django offers a powerful and intuitive way to follow relationships in lookups, taking care of the SQL joins for you automatically behind the scenes. So to span a relationship, use the field name of the related fields across the models, separated by double underscores until you get to the field that you want. So I can show you this practically from a field that we already know. So for example, we can use the author field to get the author's email address or first name. So that's blog.objects.values. And over here we can access the author tag, then __ email. You can see that we get the author's emails. We can do the same for the tags field. So this will be __ name. And yeah, you can see we get all the tags name, which in our case are this. So it's important to note that we can have more than 100 tags. And this is not ideal for our web application because we can't have over 100 tags over here. That's bad for the user and also for the UI in general. So we need a way to narrow down the tags to about 5 or 10 tags. But how do we choose these 5 or 10 tags? Do we select them at random? So we need a way to analyze the popularity of the tags based on the blog views. We added the view count field in the blog objects. So we can use the view count field to see which blogs are popular and rank the tags associated with these blogs higher than the rest. So to sum up the view count field for all blogs, we are going to need to import another Django method, which is sum. So that's from django.db.models. We are importing sum. Then for our tags items, we are going to annotate and sum up all the values of our view count field and have this result. You can see we get the tags name, cardio, view count sum 13, tag name diet, view count 9, and so on. So that works great for now, but I don't like the view count sum variable name or alias from Django. I showed how you can set our own a few minutes ago. So we can do this by specifying total views. This will be equals to sum. And then you can see that we have the tags name and the total views attribute we specified. So finally, I mentioned that we want to order these blog objects by their total views, which is the new attribute we've created. So we can do that here. So let me just copy this, and this will be order by, and we want to order by their total views in descending order. So that's great. Now they are sorted by the total views in descending order. And again, we can say that you want the first 5, and you can use this indexing in Python, and this will return the first 5 blog objects. We can also do the first 2, just so you know how this works. But for now, let's keep it at the first 8. I think that's a good number. So once we have this, we can just copy this and add it in our context. So where we have our tags, let's paste it in over here. And we need to import some, and that's from Django models. You have some. So our context tags, blog objects values, that should work. Now the next thing to do is to add this in our bloglist.html. So in our bloglist.html, where we have our popular tags below the header 5, we're going to open a for loop. I'm going to use my shortcuts. So for every tag in iterable, which is tags, we've passed it in context as such. So for every tag in tags, we want to return an anchor tag. The link is going to be empty for now. For the text, this will be a variable of our tag dot tags name. So after this, let's just have a look at it in our front end. My server is running well, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's running well. So I can just refresh this part. And here you can see we get this. We have the cardio, diet, karate, protein, taekwondo, and workout. And they are sorted according to their popularity. After that is done, let us create a view that will be able to filter the blog posts using their categories. As we are doing that, we are also going to add a view that will be able to filter the blog post by a given user. So we can do this in our views. We can start by the category list view. This will be very similar to the blog list view. So we can just copy this and paste it in. And this will be the blog category list view. So we're going to start with the query set. We're just going to remove it and override the def get query set method. And over here, we are going to return blog.published. You remember this is a custom manager that we created, .all. Then you're going to filter the query set using the category field. So the category, let's have it empty for now. We're going to need to access it. So the category, this will be equals to self.quags get the category. So over here we can have the category. The template name, we are going to still use the bloglist.html. The context object, this will still be the same, blog post. As for the context data, this will be blog posts. We also can have the categories and the tags will remain the same. So after that, we need to create the URL for this view. So in our URLs, let us import the blog category list view. So we can have a new path. Let me just copy this to start me off. And here we can have category, and you'll remember that we want to access the category name via quags or arguments. So we can do that the same way we did for our slug. So we can open that. And the first thing we need to specify the type, and it's going to be a string. Then we want to specify the argument, which is category. So this should be blog category list view. The URL name just should be blog category. With those changes, I'm going to refresh my server and see this in action. So in our blog page, we can navigate to category. and specify a particular category name. Let's start with workout. And here you can see that we get all the blog posts that belong to this particular category. You can also go to nutrition, and yeah, you can see that it works well. Now for easy navigation, let us add the URLs over here, and we can do that in our blog list.html. So here we're going to open a URL tag. We've done this multiple times. This will be URL. We need to specify the URL name, which is blog category. Then finally the arguments, category.category. So with those changes, we can go to our site again. And right now, if I click on it, you can see that it redirects us to, you can see that the links are working correctly. Nutrition, martial arts. So everything is working well. So that's our categories view. Let us do the same thing for our users view, where we'll be able to filter the blog post by a given user's posts. Again, that's going to be very similar to the blog list view. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it in over here. So this will be user blog list view. For the query set, again, we are going to override the def get query set method. Then you're going to be interacting with the user model. So we need to import this. So from django.conf import settings, we are going to use the same approach we did in our model, which is settings.auth user model. We're also going to need another shortcut from Django, and that is get object or 404. So in our query set, we can get the user object. So user, this will be equals to get object or 404. So if the user object is not found, it's going to return a 404. And the first parameter we need to specify here is the model name. So this will be settings.auth user model. Then we want to filter it by the public ID. We are going to pass this as quags. So it's the same thing we did over here. So let's just copy this. So here we can have the public ID. This is also the public ID. This is going to be public ID, which are going to pass as arguments in our requests. So instead of returning this, we are going to return blog.objects.filter, and they're going to filter by the author field. And here we're going to specify user. So let's remove this. The template is still going to be the same. The context object, this is still going to be the same. The only thing I'm going to change is the title. Here I want it to say something like Jane's blog posts. So we are going to need the user object. So let's just copy this. The public ID, this should be self.quags.get, and we want to get the public ID. So the title should read, this should be an F string, and this should be user.first name. So we have the view. Let's create the URL for it. So this is going to be very similar to this. So let's just copy that and paste it in over here. Then we import it. That is the user blog list view. So instead of setting the category, this should be user. Instead of string, this is a UUID field, and the argument should be the public ID, and the view should be the user blog list view. We are going to set it to user blogs. So we can set that URL in our bloglist.html page, where we have our author name. This is where we are going to have that link. So this is a URL tag. So URL, and we need the URL name, which is user blogs. Then we need to pass the public ID as arguments. So that is blog author.public ID. My server is still running well, so I can refresh this. And when I click on it, but when we click on it, you can see that we get this error. First argument to get object or 404 must be a model, manager, or query set, not a string. I think that's in our view. That's here. I think the mistake was here. So I'm just going to do this the conventional way. So I'm going to import the user model. So from users.models, we're going to import the users model, and I'm going to replace all the instances of this using users. So if you are in VS Code, you can just highlight it and click on Ctrl-Shift-L and specify users. So yeah, it works. You can go back and click on gens, and you can see we only get gens blogs. So that's working well. I challenge you to add those new URLs in our navigation and in our detailed blog posts. You can also try and add the URLs for the tags. So I think that's it for this tutorial. If you found it useful, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for similar content. And if you have the means, you can support the channel by buying me a coffee, by scanning the QR code, or by clicking the link in the description. Thank you for watching.